In this video I'm going to share with you 5 of my personal favorite drawing techniques from the artists around the internet that I personally use in improving my drawing skills and also getting inspired. Hi guys, my name is Alex, I'm a registered architect in London, and on this channel we'll look into different strategies and techniques to improve our design process. Now there are many different drawing styles and different approaches to drawing, and a lot of people are naturally good at coming up with their own sense of drawing style. And I am on the other hand one of those people who are much better at learning through emulating other people's work in order to inform my own. Now the way I've structured this video is I've picked my favorite artists on the internet and I've grouped them according to categories that I think they broadly fit in. So the first genre of architectural drawing is the creative. By the creative architectural drawing, I simply mean the drawings that are not direct representation of the real world architecture. It is more about taking the buildings as inspiration for then coming with artist's unique take on the subject matter. So my 3 favorite artists in this category is the Pat Valet, who is professional artist living in New York. He's originally British and he does these amazing drawings of the building landscape and cityscapes. And I think he was one of the first ones who had these videos of him drawing a big kind of massive landscape on a canvas in front of the camera and then time-lapsing it and putting it on YouTube. The other person of this list is Sam Jacob, who does really bespoke and nicely detailed buildings. He has this one piece specifically, or a series of pieces, where he kind of lays out these plans, purely graphical exercise that is very immersive and interesting to look at. And the third person on this list is Martin van Berkom, who is doing these amazing 3D geometrical representations that seem very intuitive and very detailed in their arrangement. So he does these clusters of different geometrical cubical shapes that are then shown in either 3D elevation or a head-on perspective. And it shows very much how you can push your creativity by exploring the 3D geometrical shapes, by pushing and pulling them into different directions. So the second genre is the sketchy approach to the drawing. And the sketchy approach to the drawing is really characterized by the freedom of expression. And these are the types of drawings that are really unconstrained by the precision that sometimes architects use in their drawings. Although these types of drawings are influenced by the real life, they're not necessarily 100% true to how buildings look like in reality. And so my favorite artist in this field he's calling himself JR on Instagram, and he has these really nice modest buildings that he draws, usually in a head-on perspective or a 3/4 turn, where he draws a building in a detail and then leaves the blank space around. So the building is almost like an object in space. Then there is Philip Buckingham, who is professional architectural illustrator who uses a lot of color, and he also uses stylized people in his drawings where they're not an exact replica of how a person will look like. So are his trees and cars and different props. So he's using the color palette very vividly, and it makes the whole composition really playful because his buildings are still very much proportional, but it's all the objects around that building that makes it more soft and kind of informal compared to your traditional serious 3D visualizations. Albert Keefe, he is another one in this list because I simply enjoy how carefree his drawings are. It's very much about embracing the uncertainty of being a sketcher on site, that sometimes the proportions are not going to be absolutely the right ones, but as long as you capture the spirit of the building, that's all that matters. The third genre in this list is the fantasy genre. These are the types of drawings that are very much informed by the world building, where each of the elements in the drawing, in the composition, they are these individual bits that are relating to the wider whole. And it's about creating this immersive atmosphere oftentimes where we have a cityscape or some sort of situation. It's about creating an interesting environment for the characters to be in. And Bartlett School of Architecture is actually one of the most vivid and interesting examples when it comes to fantasy building, because they're a school of architecture that is very much interested in creation of alternative realities, and they have this play upon how far we can push architecture outside the boundaries of the real world oftentimes. Particularly I enjoy Eric Wong's work. He's one of the most talented artists/designers that have come out of that school. He has, I think, been commissioned to do a movie after his work was picked up by one of the directors. It just shows you how architectural drawings shouldn't be confined to only architectural world. It can be much broader than that. And then we have the precise type of drawings. These are all the drawings that are basically capturing the appearance of the building exactly as it is. It can be done freehand, it can be done with a ruler, but the point is to capture all the proportions and the scale in an accurate way. There are a lot of artists who do that. Their work is really fascinating. It's often very detailed work, and it's very labor-intensive work as well. My favorite artists in this field are Minty Sainsbury, who is a British artist. She is using pencil as her medium, and she does these big elevations on a sheet. She uses a range of shades. She'll start with the very light ones up to the very dark ones, and illustrating her works. Then we have Luke Adam Hawker. He's quite an unusual character in that he uses a very unique type of stroke. He creates them freehand, very wobbly, with several passes, but his work is very much in capturing the buildings in an exact detail as much as possible, so they're quite realistic as well as being stylized. Max Curley is another artist in this sort of field. His drawings are also elevations of the buildings. He uses pen as his medium, but the elevations of the buildings are 3 dimensions, so there's a sense of perspective that he adds to his drawings that adds a level of flavor. And then lastly, we have the practical type of sketching. Now, the types of sketching that we've covered so far are very much artistic or observational types of drawings that have a purpose of either expressing the artist's personal narrative or, capturing the building as it is. But we haven't talked about the other types of drawings that are a bit more practical, and that is the design type of drawings. The purpose of those is to really go and solve the problem. I think it's a real shame that nobody really ever posed them. People have perception that they don't look very good and that they're messy, but I think having a large quantity of those on a single sheet actually makes for a really interesting viewing experience. And there is a certain aesthetical beauty in those drawings, the carelessness and absolute no filter kind of approach to sketching. By the way, check out this other video that I made on how to sketch like an architect for some useful tips and advice on how to improve your drawing. So check that video out, and I'll see you in the next one.